These 5 custom storylines completely transformed my universe mode along with all of my other tips and tricks. Make sure to follow along if you want to have an amazing universe mode as well. Our first storyline has some world title chaos. Your face world champion will successfully retain their world title at the latest PLE, but the following week the show opens with a heel contender attacking him or her after losing the world title match the prior week, as they're clearly not done chasing the title. The following week the heel contender would come out for a promo saying that the loss of the PLE is meaningless and that his or her problem with your face champion is about their disillusioned view of the WWE universe and how they're pandering to the management to hold their place within the company. The face champion would then come out to respond, calling out the heel and saying that they're a coward and saying that their views are misguided. But if they want a second chance to be pinned, then they can go ahead and throw down right now. With that, a ref would come out and they would have a rematch right there on the spot, but it would quickly turn to a quick finish as the heel contender would attack the face world champion with a chair, causing a DQ. The next week, once again, the heel contender would come out for a promo, but this time he or she would say that they're not going to waste any more time with the face world champion unless this time they were given another shot at stripping them of what continues to push their disillusioned views, which is the world title. The face world champion would then come out to respond, but before getting a chance to say much, he or she would be attacked once again by your heel contender. The following week at the go-home show before the PLE, the face world champion would come out for a promo and say the heel is a coward and only takes their cheap shots because they know they can't beat him or her fair one-on-one. The champ would go on to say that the attacks are going to end now, and at the upcoming PLE, they would meet one last time, not only for the world title, but to put down the heel contender for good in an ambulance match. And that is how your rematch would occur for the world title. Our next storyline is another world title, but this time it is a triple threat rivalry. If you get a chance to like and subscribe, let's hop into this second storyline. After retaining their world title at the recent PLE, your heel world champion comes out for a promo, but is quickly interrupted by a potentially new challenger, as a face calls out the heel for playing dirty to retain their world title last week and challenges them to a title match. The heel champ laughs at the challenge and walks out on the face contender. This face contender would then go backstage frustrated, but would quickly be attacked out of nowhere by a heel title contender, leaving the fans wondering why this attack occurred. And the following week, the heel title contender would come out for a promo the following week, where he or she would call out the face contender for trying to be some righteous hero to try and jump the line for the world title. But the face contender would come out to confront the heel contender, but would once again be attacked by the heel. Later that night, the heel contender was making their way backstage for an interview, but they would be attacked by the face contender as they were finally able to stick up for themselves after these past 2 attacks. Then the next week, as the number 1 contenders match would be set up for the face and the heel contenders to finally put an end to their chaos and crown a rightful opponent for the world title, but the match would shockingly end in a disqualification as the heel world champion would attack the face contender in the ring. The following week at the go-home show before the PLE, the heel world champion would come down to the ring for a promo where he or she would say that after being disrespectful and interrupting him or her a few weeks ago, the face contender didn't deserve a match with them, which is why they were attacked by him or her the prior week. The GM would come out and refuse to take that explanation as a valid reasoning for ruining the number 1 contenders match, so he or she would be making their world title match at the PLE a triple threat match with the heel and face contenders. Our third storyline involves an NXT call-up. In the first week, a heel contender for a mid-card title would come out for a promo, stating it's been a long time and honestly long enough since they've had a chance to win some gold, and they want the mid-card champion tonight, so he or she can take away their title. But out would come the GM though, saying that the heel is definitely someone who should have an opportunity at the title, but there still are other options, so next week, the heel contender will take on a surprise opponent to become the new mid-card number 1 contender. The following week, the heel mid-card contender would come out for their match and will be met by a surprise opponent who ends up being a hyped-up NXT talent that is making a huge main roster debut with a potential mid-card title push. The now former NXT talent would end up getting the huge win over the heel mid-card contender to become the new number 1 contender. Then the next week, the heel contender would come out and attack the mid-card number 1 contender backstage as they clearly couldn't handle being passed up by a new NXT talent. The Following week at the Go Home show before the PLE, the heel contender would come out for a promo and state that some new hotshot wasn't going to take their place, and last week was only the start of their plans to stop the former NXT talent from winning the mid-card title. The former NXT talent and now new mid-card #1 contender would come out to respond by challenging the heel to a rematch, but with a stipulation. If the heel wins, they would replace them as the new #1 contender for the mid-card title at the PLE. But if the heel loses the rematch, then they are barred from ringside of the PLE, stopping any interference. The heel was bothered by being given this stipulation, but they would agree to the rematch for that night to decide the #1 contender for the mid-card title at the upcoming PLE. Our fourth storyline will involve a world title heel turn. At the first week at your recent PLE, your face world champion was able to retain their title, and they would come out the following week for a promo where they seemed maybe getting a little bit too cocky. Out would come a face contender / challenger who's a little bit of an underdog, but they're looking to finally get an opportunity at the world title. Your cocky face champion tries to be nice, but says that if he or she wants a shot at their world title, then they would have to earn it. So the following week, your underdog face challenger would take on a heel contender in a #1 contenders match where the face underdog would end up getting the win to get a title shot. Then at next week's show, the face underdog contender would come out for a promo, thanking the crowd for getting behind them and helping them will their way to the title shot for the world title. The little bit of a cocky face champion would come out to respond, and even though once again he or she was trying to be nice to their new #1 contender, they would tell that contender that the fans won't have his or her back in the match, but instead they will be with their world champion. This leads to mixed reactions from the crowd, as that you can really sense they have a growing arrogance behind the world champion. Then the following week at the Go Home show before your PLE, both superstars would come out for a contract signing where once again it felt like the face world champion was a little condescending to their challenger, but what felt like for the first time in forever, this contract signing didn't end in a brawl. Then at your PLE, the face world champion would take on their face challenger, and in surprising fashion, the face challenger would get the upset win to become the new world champion. The following week though, after the PLE, in surprising fashion, the show opens with the former face champion attacking the new face champion backstage, as their recent character change seems to have turned into a full heel turn. Then the following week, your former world champion calls out the new champion saying he or she isn't worthy of the title, they got lucky, and will get stomped out if they have a rematch. The new world champion then would come out saying, after the attack last week, why would he or she give out a rematch? Instead, the new champion dishes it right back and says that just like him or her said before, the former world champion would have to earn a shot at the title. The former champion grew mad at this response, which is hypocritical considering how their feud started, but he or she doesn't care and would attack the new champion once again. The next week, the former world champion would take on another world title contender to become the new #1 contender, and the former world champion would end up getting the win to set up a rematch at the upcoming PLE. Following we get the Go Home show before the PLE, another contract signing was set up between the two superstars, but this time it would end in chaos as the former world champion would take the first swing at the new world champion, but this time your face new world champion was able to fight back as they would both brawl, heading into their world title rematch at the upcoming PLE. Our next storyline will go to the tag division for either the men or the women. During your first week, the tag team champions who are faces will issue an open challenge as they're looking for a new challenger for their titles. Another face tag team that's had some success but has struggled to get over the hump recently would come out to face the champs. Their tag champs would end up getting the win, but later backstage, the losing team would attack them shockingly to the fans and turning heel. The next week, the now heel tag team would come out for a promo saying they're done being the afterthoughts of the division and wasting their time doing things the right way, while other tag teams would continue to play dirty and take away their opportunities. The tag champs would then come out to confront them, saying they didn't do anything dirty, that they were just the better men or women that night. This would lead the now heel tag team to attack the tag champs once again. And the very next week, the new heel team didn't just want to make a statement to the champs, but they wanted to make a statement to the entire tag division. So they would face off with another tag team and end up getting the win, but after the match, they would attack their opponents with steel chairs. The following week at the Go Home show, the tag team champs would come out for a promo calling out the heel tag team, challenging them to a match at the PLE to put this to rest. The heel tag team would then come out and accept the challenge, and the two tag teams would end up brawling in the ring. And at the PLE, the heels and the faces would face off for the tag team titles.